Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, welcome to the Fall River Park Board. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may or make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible.
Thanks, Joe. I would just like everyone to know that we're being taped by FRG TV, Fred TV, and if there's anyone that would like to videotape this meeting, please check in with the chair. Okay? Is there anyone? Okay, wonderful. Welcome to the Park Board. First, Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a nice holiday. Roll call of commissioners, please.
Jeffrey Foley, Victor Farias,
Joe Schulenberg.
Marjorie Yitkin.
Ron Rigo.
Acceptance of the agenda for 1/9/20 meeting.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Acceptance of the minutes for November 6th, 2019 meeting.
Motion to approve.
Motion's been made to approve and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Citizen input. When I state your name, please come up. You have 3 minutes. CJ Ferry. Hi, welcome. Just state your name and address. Okay.
CJ Ferry, 300 Buckingham Street. I'm here today because I am an adamant opponent to the CPA and the CPC projects. We're taxed enough. We are going to be working this year on getting rid of that. My problem is that this park board in the past, and this city in general, abuses the CPC accounts to meet budgetary needs and put together projects. Now, in this case, from my understanding, these projects that are being put in front of you haven't even come before you prior to this. So the application for these projects was made without the park board approval or knowledge. Isn't that your purview? Aren't you supposed to know what's going on when they're making proposals for your park? I mean, it's bad enough that things happen in our parks that you don't know about. But when we have city departments doing the same thing, we have a problem. It's the same thing with the storage facility on Bullock Street, request for perpetual care funds. Check the law on what perpetual care funds are supposed to be used for, very clearly. They're meant for graves, they're not meant for buildings. That's one of the problems we have. And we've been abusing the perpetual care accounts as well. Let's stick to the law, let's stick with the books. Let's make sure that we're not using inappropriate funds from other areas to meet budgetary needs of departments in the city.
Just so you'll know, Mr. Ferry, that this board has not wasted or have used perpetual care funds to anything that we couldn't do. Okay, this board.
Mhm.
Okay, just so.
I understand that.
Okay, thank you.
It's a new board,
It's a new board.
in a sense. But again, we have had these problems in
Right.
the past.
Yep.
So we need to stay focused on these issues. And I personally believe that on these CPC eligible projects, are we gonna be doing something that we're gonna actually use and utilize? I hope so, if you're going to approve that. But again, I don't believe that the city should be using them to meet budgetary needs. And that's what's happening with repairs of buildings. We've seen it with roofs, we've seen it elsewhere in the city. We need to cut down on using money for budgetary needs and use the money strictly for what it's meant for. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Colin Dias. Hi, state your name.
Colin Dias, 560 Ray Street. We have before you a request to plant, it was originally 10, but it is now 1, not 10, 1. Basic white pine tree, which is like the basic pine tree within like the North American New England region, at Pulaski Park with a potential date of Earth Day. I already have the saplings. When you have saplings, you're supposed to start growing them around this December, January. So I have a few planted, then you can plant them around the springtime, so it's a good thing Earth Day falls in April around the spring. This is to, one, promote the environment around Fall River, and to unite the city around a common cause, which is the environment. The pine trees are heavily durable, like during winter, extreme winter, summer climates. So once they pass 1 foot in length, they won't require much maintenance at all. There'll be low maintenance, so weekly until the pine tree is self-sustaining, I would go plant, water the tree, make sure it's not a hazard or anything like that. And after that, it'll grow on its own, and I plan on planting this with the board's permission on Earth Day. We can get the city together and have a great event on Earth Day.
Great, thank you. Citizen input is now closed. New business. Board needs to vote on award for Etna Street Playground renovation project. No, we don't have that here, do we? Yeah, we did the acceptance. So it's in our packet. Anyone have any questions on it?
In your packet, you have the letter from the architect.
Right.
And the bids that were submitted, and the architect's recommendation.
It was sent to Mr. Dion.
This is the community development project, and Mr. Dion came before you. We discussed the fencing, we discussed the playground, we had a public hearing on it.
Right.
So all we need is the award of the contract.
Okay, is there a motion to award?
Motion? Second.
A motion to award the contract for $272,000, $100,288, I can't even say it. $272,880, there we go. To Century Paving and Construction. Do I have a motion and a second?
Yes.
There's a motion?
And a second.
Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The bids are on the next page, just so you know. I need a motion and a second to withdraw the park improvement item in city ordinance that we put on, we sent forward on March 22nd, 2019. We haven't heard a word back from the city council, and we just need to withdraw it. Motion to withdraw.
Second.
Been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Who was the second? I'm sorry, Marcy. Jeff?
Jeff.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Chris Gallagher, do you want to come up?
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Okay, Chris, so you have here CPC eligibility projects. So you went to CPC already, as we all know.
Yeah, that was just the application to see if
Right.
it was eligible. At that point, I came to the board, notified you of what we were doing, letting you know what we were looking for, and that come in the future, we would be looking for a letter. As you know, we didn't have a meeting in December, holidays, things like that. And so we're here today looking for a little support. You have some documents, some plans, you have some books on feasibility study for some of these projects. So just whatever that you feel that you would like to do or not do in projects.
Okay, so the issue that we hear time and time again is that we approve the money, we say, okay, the project, and what happens is, it takes a while to get them done. Okay, I know that you say you're very busy, and I'm sure you are. But we still are waiting for projects from 2016. So, you get 2016, 2017, a few in 2018, and some in 2019. Over, as I said last time, I think it was over 660,000, 100,000 that was in CPC money that is still there. So my concern is to approve all of this, we're adding on to more work that has to be completed. We're still waiting on the Kennedy Park wall. That was $30,000. And if you go by Brayton Avenue, that wall is gonna be much more than
Bradford
30.
Avenue.
Bradford Avenue, I'm
Bradford
sorry. Yeah, Bradford Avenue, thank you. I stand corrected. It's gonna be more than that. So, I mean, because it's weighted. So, as Jim Souza said, unfortunately, maybe we just don't approve anything right now, clean up some of this so we can, and when we do, come back and we can talk about other things. But that's would be my suggestion to the board, because we see the CPC meetings and they say, oh, the park board allowed it, or the park dog director didn't, didn't do her job, and Mr. Ferry made a good, example. It's just, it's too much out there. So that would be my recommendation to the board, and to just deny these until we get this cleaned up.
Fair enough.
So is there a motion?
Motion?
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
So the motion on the floor is to deny the CPC projects
Just until we.
till we have to get this cleaned up. And then you can bring anything back once this is cleaned up.
Just so the board knows, by denying these projects, I believe they'd have to resubmit, correct, to
Yeah,
CPC?
yeah.
So,
Well, I don't think, so I don't know where that would end up. I mean, I still go, they were eligible, but then I don't have a support from you, so I don't
right,
think they
so,
would, I
so
think they would.
it's dead. When you
dead.
don't have the
Yeah.
support from the
So then
board,
I'd
it's dead.
reapply, and I'd reapply.
Well, what
yeah.
I would suggest is, and I think we need to discuss this, is before you apply for CPC, why don't you see if the Board of Park Commissioners want to approve that?
Right.
Because if you don't have the support of the Park Board, then you're wasting your time to go into CPC. I mean, I think everything's being done backwards.
Well, like I said, that's why I had put it in and then came to you, and letting you know, it was only eligibility. I mean, at any point in time when we talked in November, we could have said, no, we don't support them, and we're not gonna do them at that time.
I'm just trying to save a step.
Yep, no, that's not a problem, and
I
like I
just
said,
think
we'll continue on.
You could, instead of knowing that you don't have the support of the board, you could turn around and then you could do something else.
Exactly.
I mean,
No,
so.
No, I totally agree.
You
We've
know?
had this discussion at 3 Park.
I know,
Board
already,
already.
yeah. So, okay, so we're all set, we have the motion and second, so, we're all
So I
set.
think you should just state the project, so whoever's watching knows
Okay.
what projects.
So the
are.
projects were Men's Warming House, Kennedy Park, that was the top.
Right, we don't even have any information on that.
No,
like
I have nothing.
specifications
Yeah,
or
I'm still,
plans.
waiting on, the
So
architect.
at
yeah.
that point,
Yeah.
that would be a
Yep.
case anyway, we have no information.
Wait a minute,
I
Commissioner,
just want to clarify that that's the building at the top of the park called South Main, Bradford Avenue, that area,
Yeah, the old warming
Right,
house,
yeah.
almost next to where they do the,
where that big tree is.
yeah, and
Yeah.
where they do the feast. It's
Yeah.
kinda where they have like the porta johns. I think it was an old bathroom, I think, at one point
Yeah,
in
one
time.
time it was.
This
Yeah,
board
we don't-
can't even act on it because you have no paperwork
We have
on it.
nothing.
You have no
I know.
costs, you have no plans, you have
Nothing.
no whatever, so
So-
that's one of the projects that, in all
I wanna
honesty,
make sure I got
is-
the right building.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
you have
gonna
the
look,
right
we're gonna
building.
look to do it in-house, but on architect's guidelines of what.
so
the
then
position
the
are.
lower Kennedy Park tennis courts.
Yeah.
Okay, we all know about those. The Oak Grove Cemetery Gatehouse. And as far as the storage facility for Bullock request of perpetual care, I would suggest or recommend to board not to do this right now as well. So I would need a motion and a second, because we only have 2014 plans. We have really nothing, what is it, is this it? This
No,
is-
that's the gatehouse.
That's the gatehouse, so we have nothing on that, Chris, except for 2014 plans, and I don't think it would be fair for the park board to make,
Sorry about that. I thought it showed up.
I thought,
Please vote on holidays.
so I don't think that it would be fair for us to vote on something that we
That's
don't
fine.
know.
Yep, that's fine.
We don't have any information. So, yes, Commissioner Salido.
I'm not comfortable voting to not do them. I suggest we table, so,
You can't table. You
Can't.
either have to support or deny by January 15th.
Right. Unfortunately, this is what the board's up
I
against.
understand.
Yeah, we'll
It's gonna come
reapply.
back.
We'll
gonna-
reapply. It's fine.
Come to us first.
Yep.
I mean-
And then, or whoever.
Well, that's what I'll do is
And you start the
like,
whole process again.
What process, Jeff? The process was it's eligible.
It's
That's the
eligible.
only
That's it.
process
Now
that
that we
we've
know
done.
it's eligible, and the funding, I assume, would be there, if they're eligible.
we still gotta get you some information on that, and it gives us an opportunity now to, sit with Nancy as we start to fully, design and stuff like that. Sometimes it's, you get
So
these,
my question is, how do you get the eligibility if they don't know what they're saying is eligible?
That's what.
it's only a one sheet in what you're
What
asking
they're
for.
saying in eligibility, Jeff, is it meets the historic content, and this is stuff that Victor can tell you. They have categories, recreational, historical,
Housing.
yeah,
Housing.
housing. All they're saying with this is you meet the historical qualification. We will give you whatever, there's certain percentages of money that they break it
So on
down
the
to.
application,
We don't even see the
We
application.
don't see it.
Yeah, it's a
I
one little, it's a one little
understand, but
page, it's just a one little page piece.
Well, I would like to see that page, so I know what's on there.
Yeah.
Looks like this.
And what's going on.
Well, that's what
Victor.
Marcy's saying about have that information come to us before.
So
it
this
goes
way
to
here, we'll
CCC.
go through it, and this way here, that I can get with Nancy, and we can start right from
Jeffrey.
the beginning, and
I
go
get it.
right
I
from
understand.
exactly what we wanna do, and then exactly what we're going to do on each one of the projects. So, and what she feels that she needs in the parks, what she needs on that plan, what she needs to go forward with that. The one thing that I'd like to request is, the perpetual care, as Mr. CJ Ferry said, it was for, cemetery only, or graves only. I don't have any of that, so I thought that it might have been, eligible under perpetual care it's for the cemetery.
I would suggest, I mean, I've done research on perpetual care, and I know perpetual care is just not for graves.
Oh.
I've done research for
Okay.
that. So, but at this time, I would love to get a ruling, maybe from Corporation Council.
Yeah, because we're under the perpetual care, and just so that everybody's aware, and also the public is aware, we were looking for materials only to build
Because-
them that storage facility, because we're looking to do these gatehouses eventually, they're historic, and we need to get them out of one of those houses to get them into that area, so that we could start to repair some of those gatehouses.
Well, the problem is two, I mean, 2014.
Yeah.
So we really can't, I mean, I wouldn't suggest to this board to, with 2014 plans, taking money out of perpetual care, we already have a $50,000 foundation there that this board didn't even approve from the prior boards.
Perpetual care.
Perpetual care, that's what I said. So they took money out of perpetual care and no one came to the park board. I don't know about that one either. I don't know if that's under Mass General Law, but that's kind of, so anyway, with that said, I don't feel comfortable with it. The board can vote how they want. If I get a motion in a second, I think that it needs to be referred to Corporation Council for clarification.
Yeah,
What
I'm
needs
not
to be
fine with that.
referred- What perpetual care can be
Yeah.
used for?
I mean, I've done research, but let's get it from Corporation Council.
Well, I asked 2 years ago for the rules for perpetual
You
care,
did.
and I'm still waiting for this day.
That's right. That's a very good point.
I want it in black and white. I
That's
want to
right.
read it. 'Cause perpetual care is to take care of graves.
Actually,
I don't care
John,
what
weren't you gonna
anybody
get
says.
that, Buzz?
I do have them, I don't have them with me, I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
realize this was coming up, but I can get them to each and every one of you tomorrow,
Okay.
absolutely.
But I still want I still want something from,
Jim
Corporation
Souza.
Yeah.
Council.
Would you be able to send it up to the Corporation Council
I'll
as
take
well?
care
'Cause
of
he
that.
might not be
Okay.
able to find
CC.
it.
I'll get it to you, I'll CC the entire board, I'll send it to Corporation Council with a request for clarification as far as to what it can be.
we need just Nancy,
Okay, if you want me to just send it to Nancy, I'll do it.
yeah, and then she can send it out there.
We still need to find this.
Huh? We could, yeah,
Unless you want to.
Table it.
Unless you want to build it with 2014 plans, what, he's saying you don't have the
yeah,
plans.
you can't.
The plans are just gotta be updated, because when that foundation went in, this is what the design was, and this is what they were gonna do. But I can get the architect to update them. I just took what they had did with the foundation and that, because that was all supposed to be all one piece. When that foundation, and that's the plans that was for that back then, you know?
Okay.
So we can have them, update them, and do what the things
Yeah.
we're gonna do to them and stuff
So-
like that.
so
Do you
then-
wanna table that one until
And
you
I think we
find out?
just deny it, and then you come back with a new, let's start fresh, and then we move forward. Let's get the request, let's
Yep.
get all our ducks in a row, and then that way there, we'll be able to just move forward and
So when we get the ruling from perpetual care.
let's get the ruling, let's get what John has,
yeah.
and let's see what's going on with
So
perpetual
once we get that
care.
ruling,
There's no
just,
use of you
No
getting all
use
this
of going-
information
don't
if
go-
Perpetual Care's
No,
gonna
that's what I'm
be
saying,
corporate
just-
That's
counsel and say
why.
we can't
right,
use
so
it.
just give me
Exactly.
the information when the corporate council gives you
Yep.
a ruling, and if it's a go, then let me know, then I'll start the process to
Actually,
getting back onto the board.
John, if you can send what you have to Nancy, Nancy, can you send it to Corporation Council? Please?
Yes.
And CC me on it?
You can CC all, because when we get to ruling, you can CC all of us, and
So whatever you have, send to me and
Yeah.
I'll
Is
request
Nancy
it.
sending this to Corporation
Yeah,
Council?
on behalf of the park board.
Yes,
Yeah.
with a letter
Not as
from
the park
Marcy.
department.
She
On
represents
behalf
the
of
park
the
board.
board.
Yeah, she represents the
The
park
board.
board.
It'll be with a cover letter from the chairman of the board, not
Yeah.
from me.
Okay.
But we oversee it, so yeah. Why, is there a problem?
Yeah, no, I just wanna have my own,
We have nothing to do, we've had this conversation with DCM. This is where it's, you know what I
the
mean?
board doesn't, but park does. The
No,
park department,
yes, but
yes.
she
Yeah,
is
no.
our you know what I mean,
No,
so,
absolutely, I
okay.
just wanna make sure I'm in the chain, that's.
Okay, well, that's, yeah. Okay, so then there's a motion on the, there was a motion on the floor, right, to deny? And then, okay, right, so who made the motion?
Nobody else.
Oh, okay.
Motion to deny.
Motion to deny, okay. And I need a second. Okay, motion and seconded, okay,
And that's that's secondary to the perpetual care.
right.
The first motion and second was to deny the.
All the other ones, yep,
CCs.
okay,
Yep.
Just so I have it straight.
okay, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, so now you're here for the other one too, Chris, right? For the CPC project for the floating dock,
Yeah, the boat ramp, which was put in by the grant writer.
okay?
Okay, I believe he sent you all of the documentation and that. I think he's looking for a letter. Now, I believe you should have in there a letter for DCR.
No, I do not.
All
have
right,
any
he-
letter
it-
from
then
this,
it's
no.
forthwith coming because he's got
What I do have a letter
that.
from is the Veterans Organization,
Yeah.
which this board has in their possession.
Yeah, we
have a
Veterans
letter.
The
Organization.
DCR, the letter that he told me, he said is coming forthwith. He's just waiting on the state to send it to him. He's got a verbal, but I'm waiting on that letter, because it's a DCR property. It's not really a POC property, I'm not
Right, but
sure.
when you brought it before us, you
You said
said
it
that
was
that project was gonna tie into the electricity
Yeah.
at Bicentennial Park, and all that was, and that's not, we have no information on that. And then we have an adamant letter from the veterans that they do not want that there because of the new Vietnam Wall going there. So that's all additional information. The letter they do have from the veterans, we don't have the letter from the DCR, and we don't have the plans or specs saying how that's going to affect Bicentennial Park.
Well, I think on his, on mine, what I was looking to do is, his is a little different, because mine was, we denied it, we weren't doing it at all. With his, I think he's got he got a grant, he's got the money from the National Fisheries, the Taunton River Coalition, and that, and what it is to put the docks down the side, similar to what I was going to do, put the docks down the opposite side of the ramp. And then there was gonna be no electricity or anything like that, it was just gonna be the poles, the pylons, and the docks to go down, with I guess a little short sidewalk coming up so that you can make it down to the docks at that point. But there was no electricity, nothing being tied into the park or anything, it was to the side of the boat ramp, which was DCR property, as far as I understand. I didn't.
So where do they
He
park?
kind of at the last minute, he had something else to do, so the last minute me and him touched base.
Where do they park? Where do they park
Right
the
in that
cars?
open parking lot where they have the trailers and all of that stuff.
Is that, whose property is that?
It's not to the state, isn't it?
Is that-
That's DCR's
Yeah,
property,
property.
but I don't know if the veteran spoke to you, Victor, you're,
There's a section there, there's a couple of sections that they wanna check out to see if.
they wanna expand the
Expand
parking
it.
lot. They
Yeah.
said they want to, they're very concerned with the fishing garbage
Right.
that is left down there, that's all, this has all come now before us, and they're very concerned that if this Vietnam Wall is going to become, I don't know if you wanna read the letter, Marcy, it's,
It's right
Victor,
there.
can you read it?
The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall Committee, who has taken the national intentional with the city cooperated to help build the 80% replica of the Vietnam Memorial Wall located in Washington DC. This project is expects to provide the city with economy, development, and educational benefits that have not been seen in some time. The city, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and our federal delegation is behind this 100%. Please accept this letter as our official objection to the proposed floating dock with the pylons and existing state-owned public access boat ramp. There is a designated limited parking for boaters. There now, and with the construction of the wall, it will create chaos. I am sure that there is another location along our shoreline that is more suitable for it. I hope the park board considers the benefit that the wall will provide the Veterans Bicentennial Park. Sincerely, Joe Marshall, Vice Vietnam Veteran Memorial Wall Commission. And that's also by
No, I
Judge
wasn't
Souza.
involved in this piece. I'm just kind of here representing Brendan
Yeah.
because Grant Wright, he had to go somewhere else tonight, and we just I had put this project in, what was it, last year, year before I put it in. We were trying to do that additional boat ramp. I had talked with Mr. Smith, who's the harbor master, and they were asking for that additional. The boat ramp is wide enough to put 2 trailers side by side so you can get boats in and out and stuff like that. If there's one boat there waiting to get on a trailer, somebody else can't come in, or somebody else can't come in on it because you can't tie up the boats. So they were looking to do that so they can keep the traffic and keep the ramp moving and open. The fire department uses that if they have to go into the river for anything, for people or anything like that. So if you got somebody there, they gotta move out quickly and stuff like that. So I think that was one of their ideas, was to be able to have that other side there, to give that additional access to the ramp. So again, originally, I think when we went for it, like I said, a year or two ago, we were gonna put lighting, and we were gonna do, there's enough lighting on the other side that's already there, the poles would light it up and illuminate it enough that when it got dark, you could see pulling in a boat in that area, because it lights up pretty much the whole ramp. We were just gonna tie it into our decorative lights, which was coming off the park, and some of the decorative lights, and bring it all around and just finish the lighting all the way around. But this particular one, he's not doing that, he's just putting in the docks that are removable, obviously, and then there's a small section of sidewalk so you can access to the docks, so you don't have to either step on the rocks or in the water.
Take them out in the winter.
Yeah, they come out in the winter, yeah.
Yeah, who
Those
takes
docks.
them out?
Mr. Smith, the harbor master, takes them out.
This is CBC project.
He was going for some, yeah.
CPC.
Yeah, he was going for some of the, yeah, he was going for some of the funding. He got a grant from the Taunton River, I think, Coalition, I think it was, from the Marine Fisheries from the state, because it's DCR's property, so they gave him a grant as well. And I think the additional funding he was asking for CPC, which falls under recreational, I believe is what the application was, for the boat ramp.
So I'm confused, because now if this is all CPC, if this is all DCR property, and we're not tying into Bicentennial Park anymore,
They shouldn't be here.
then it shouldn't be this board. But we still have the objection from the veterans, whether DCR is doing it or whatever. But the reason it came to this board to begin with was because of, like you said, it was
Before you
gonna
came,
involve
yeah.
Bicentennial Park, it was gonna, if what you're telling me, and what I'm understanding
Mhm.
now, is it's completely DCR property, take it or leave it, people.
I think he was
in
just
the
going to
park
look for that letter of
department.
support, it abuts your property, it's right there to your park and stuff like that, so I think he was,
But the letter of support that he's looking for is, we are on board for this project, correct?
yeah, I guess because it abuts your property, as far as I understand, is because it's you're the neighbor, you're right there, you're the board in that, because as far as I understand, there wasn't anything tying in
Right, because the last
to
time
the
he
park,
said
it's
it
at the
was-
ramp and the
Right.
ramp itself.
He
Right.
doesn't say that in this either.
Right.
So if,
That would have helped.
I'm just saying, because in
would've
the end,
helped.
I don't want it to come, oh, the board approved it, and now we don't have the full plan here, and now it does involve Bicentennial Park. That's my only concern,
no,
because
I-
in the end, I'm the guy that they're hunting. Always.
Always.
Always,
You're
yes.
assigned the projects, everybody else is assigned the projects, and I'm the guy they're hunting because it says park department. And that's my concern, and that's why I distribute all the information to this board to make an educated decision. But yet, people frown upon me giving this information, like, oh, she's putting a stop to it. No, I'm not putting a stop to it. We talk transparent. I want it to be transparent,
That's
because
right.
in the end, I don't want the blame. So, right now with what Brandon, and I have no objection to this, whatever, him submitting it, but he's not telling me this has nothing to do with you, yet he's looking for information, and you're saying, well, he wants to be a good neighbor. But if he wants to be, if this board wants to be a good neighbor, right now the veterans are telling us, we don't want it there. So we have to be a good neighbor and go, we don't support this project because of the multi-million or whatever, I don't know how much, thousands and thousands of dollars. Eventually, there'll probably be a multi-million-dollar project by the time everything is in
Said
there.
and done, yes.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want this. And they've expressed that, and for us to say, okay, we're gonna give you our support, when we don't even have the whole story. That's my concern.
So if you'd like to table this, and again, it has nothing to
And I
do
don't
with
know
it.
how this board is gonna vote, but me, as the person that's in the park department every day, that's my concern, because in the end, it's approved, and we're approving things that,
And
we're
that's fine
buying half a cow.
if you'd like to table it, because as far as I understand, even though it's for the 15th meeting, they don't do any funding until February, the end of February. So actually you have an
How much is-
opportunity
But I
to.
don't get it, because this is
How
what
much
I.
is this gonna cost? Wait a minute, Nancy. How much is this gonna cost?
$138,000.
$138,000.
Doesn't this application have to be in by the 15th of this month?
That's what
Yeah.
it says.
Yes.
So-
But they don't give out any funding in before you
know,
go
but
for
still.
hearing
Well,
of
what are you
funding
gonna
to
give to,
the.
what is he supposed to give? This is my concern. What is he supposed to give to the CPC on the 15th?
Yeah, we
Half a
asked.
story?
That's for eligibility,
I'm just
right?
saying.
Again, I wasn't
We're
involved, I'm just
asking-
trying to give a little information that I know, but the
Chris-
information I do know, that's it.
Chris, but this goes with your projects too. On the 15th, today is the 8th.
We get very
If on the 15th,
confused.
you're supposed to submit the whole kit and caboodle for everybody to know what they're voting on, shouldn't you have it ready on the 8th so we know what we're saying? Yes, we're on board with this. That's all, and this conversation has been taking
Every-
place since 2 years now.
Okay,
And we're not,
it's
and it
totally
doesn't
up what
seem that
you wanna do, if
it's
you.
not moving forward. I don't care, my point is this, I know the veterans are a very powerful organization, and they have said they don't want this. So, whatever this board does,
Well-
be aware that the veterans are gonna be in here next month.
Well, keep in mind, if it's not ours. So, by law, we don't,
It's not yours, but he's saying, like a good neighbor,
Okay,
you can
so,
offer
all
your
right, so then
opinion
let's
that you
have a-
don't think this is a
let's-
good idea, and that's what Chris is
let's have a roll
is
call.
saying.
Do you think it's a good idea for the, do you support the floating docks from, for CPC project from the grant writer? Roll call. Commissioner Sylvia?
Vote to table it.
You can't table, it's CPC. You can't table it, it's CPC money, and they need the letter, so it's either yes or no.
No.
Okay.
No.
Commissioner Farias?
No.
Schoenberg?
No.
No.
Okay. 4, unanimous. Denied. Okay.
Does this board want to send a letter
I would recommend
or
that we,
forward the letter from the veterans to the CPC?
I would suggest you do that.
So do we want to?
Is that did the letter just come to you? Or-
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, if we put that in with the packet and, if you send it back to CPC, send the
I
letter
don't
to.
have a packet. I
No,
have
no,
an
I'm saying,
application for eligibility.
send it back to CPC, the letter.
I'm going to forward the letter to Jim
Susan.
Susan.
Souza
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
say, I received this letter in regard to whatever,
And the board.
And the board's
commissioners-
recommendation,
and the board voted to deny.
okay.
Okay,
I'm
thank
going
you.
to send the same thing with your letter so that he has this information.
When you get any response from Corporation Counsel on that Petro Care,
Yep.
inform me, then I can move forward. Meantime, then I'll get with Nancy and we'll go over some of these things and we'll just reapply.
That's it.
Good.
Okay?
Okay,
Thank you very
thank
much for your time. Appreciate it again. Happy New
Hey.
Year to everybody.
You too,
I have
Chris.
a question about the building that's behind that warming house sign.
I was just gonna ask.
Is that, I know that that was supposed to be, is those plans ready to roll? The
The
one,
grant or-
the Kennedy Park office building?
Your office building, well, all of the study is totally completed. We've gotten the grant money for the study and stuff like that, so we can discuss it and see what you want to do, if you wanted to put in anything for that and you wanted to go forward
Well,
with
because I'm
that.
saying those are the things that are halfway done, rather than go to the warming house up top. Let's,
Well, I just wanted to do I wanted to do something with the warming house because, you know,
the warming
I
house.
think it's been set on fire a couple of times. It's, the roof now has got a few holes in it and stuff like that, so we
I
wanted to,
agree.
like, weather tight it. Eventually, we wanted, and what the plan was is not to turn it back into bathrooms, because there's a bathroom where her offices are, and she doesn't really need any more bathrooms, was maybe to turn it into a slight storage or an electrical hub. And the reason being for the electrical hub is because for pot grants, the pot grant writers and stuff like that in the state want to start to see the wires taken out of the park and start to be put underground
Right.
to get those.
Right,
So
we had that
we figured
discussion.
that'd be a nice location, especially because of the feasts and all of that there, that can be their kind of electrical hub, and we can kind of get all those poles, because it seems that they've added quite a bit of poles up there to do some of the stuff that they wanted to do up there, so by making a nice hub there,
I have-
it'd be a good place.
You had said something about buying the materials to do the Bullock Street.
Yep.
And your people were gonna do
Yep.
it. Why wouldn't we be able to do that with that warming house?
We were gonna, that's what we're looking to
Through
do.
city money, because, oh, you were gonna use perpetual care money for the other.
Perpetual
But why-
for that,
but
it's
then-
CPC money
But then we go
for.
to the thing that we had at citizen input about where an individual who just came before us with citizen input said, we're using CPC money to do maintenance on city buildings. Maybe I can put in my budget, if you give me
A materials
and a
list.
materials list or whatever, but I didn't understand that your guys were supposed to do that. I
Right.
thought that's supposed to go out for a bid.
No, it was something that, my staff now, we haven't had in the past of what we have now. The facilities maintenance is growing a little bit larger and able to take care of more things in-house than going out for contractors. So I have, a couple of licensed individuals now, that are very good at the building and stuff, have been in the trade for a long time, stuff like that. So they're very good at stumping to these things. So the storage unit, that building there, these are things that they can build very easily, and they do these. And-
So to Commissioner Sylvia's interest, this board could very well put that as a request into their budget and not wait for CPC to do the study, to do this, to do that, and move it forward. It would move forward much quicker
Quicker.
if we put it into the budget, because it is an eyesore, and I agree, of all those projects that
Haven't
you
we said
had
that
on that.
before, though?
Yeah.
And then we don't get, we've said
Well,
this,
we've never put the money, requested the money in the budget.
In the
We've
budget.
had
Maybe we need to put
it had
money in the
been
budget.
denied,
So that's why I said,
I mean-
I'll sit with Nancy, we'll go over these things, we're gonna resubmit, but with stuff like what she's talking about, and we'll sit down and gather up the information,
Okay.
we'll get it put into our new budget, so the budget, everybody's starting to work on them now.
Exactly.
So it'll be a great opportunity to do that now.
Okay.
For that, so that's
Yeah.
not something that we'll do.
okay, good, thank you.
And as for the other CPC projects that are pending,
Yeah,
We
we'll
can clear
take,
them
yeah,
out.
yeah, clear them out. Yeah. Folks, thank you very much, and
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Enjoy, thank you.
Thank you. Colin Dias, request to plant 10 pine trees at
he
Pulaski.
changed it into one
Oh,
now.
to one, well, it says 10, so one, I'm sorry, Colin, one pine tree. And you've already spoke how
Do
you
you have a
feel.
particular location that you were looking to put it in?
At Pulaski Park. On the
Make a motion
sheet I gave
to
you,
refer to
Oh,
pine
yeah.
tree.
I wanted to.
I only have this,
Already have.
oh, I'm sorry.
Know there's an open area, I go to the park office, an open area behind the fence, like
With the
towards the
tennis
corner.
court.
Yeah, away from
Tennis
it.
courts.
No, not even the tennis courts, like there's the basketball hoop, and then there's like an open area of like park.
Yep.
100 feet of park, and it's like right, the park's right after that.
Well, I can meet you there and get an exact location if, you know, I don't think one pine tree is gonna make or break that park. But when you were talking about being 1 foot tall, my concern with it being 1 foot tall is I don't know if one thing's gonna stand a chance.
I'll make sure nothing will happen.
That's all my concern is.
Where is
I don't
that?
think 1
I
foot.
can't ask a question.
You need
Can
to,
I ask a question?
you would need to
Excuse
resign
yourself.
from your chair, and then you could go over there.
What's your question?
No,
I want to know.
no,
what I want.
no,
He said he's gonna
no,
water it.
no, no, no,
He said he's watering it,
No.
that was the question.
no, no,
Okay.
no. You, if you would like to ask a question, please go over there, resign from your chair.
Relinquish your chair.
Right,
Over there.
thank you. Relinquish your chair and please go over there.
May I relinquish my chair?
Please do. He's leaving. I'm sorry, but
Right.
I can ask him questions. I can ask him, Tim.
can you come up? Let's have a nice dialogue here, Mr. Dias. Thank you. And Ms. Rigo, as you are here as a citizen.
He was a citizen. Now, the Niagara Neighborhood Association, they adopted the Pulaski Park. So if you plant the tree, who's gonna take care of this tree?
I will.
Constantly?
Yes. With a pine tree, once it gets to a certain height, like that's why I picked the pine tree itself. It doesn't require much maintenance, and that's basically why I picked the pine tree. It will survive like a lot of extreme climates, New England climates. I'm gonna definitely take care of it. I'll be there daily or bi-daily until
with
it
a-
reaches a certain height.
With a pine tree, when the needles fall, it kills all the grass around the bottom.
Interesting. Does it have to
I'll
be a
be-
pine tree?
I did pick a pine tree because, again, that's like the least amount of maintenance, and pine trees are really good look. Definitely would beautify the park, I believe. I can definitely meet with Nancy to pick a remote location around Pulaski Park to make sure it
It would be
doesn't.
the only pine tree in the park. We don't have pine trees in the park.
There are another parts, I'm not gonna. I don't,
I don't see a.
by the time that pine tree kills the grass around it, Helen, you
You'll
and I
be-
are not gonna be here to see it. Believe me,
I might be.
And I'll be honest with you,
No, you won't.
and I'm gonna be honest with Mr. Dias. I don't know if he can camp out there 24 hours a day,
No.
planting a tree less than 1 foot tall, surviving in a park
Yeah,
That's the
is
whole thing.
a very,
unfortunately, yeah.
unfortunate
Yeah,
endeavor.
it
And I'm
is.
being honest, because we have a
Vandalism.
multitude of, let's put it this way. One time I decided I was gonna buy a nice little bucket and put it outside the park department office, and I planted geraniums in it, and I did, and the next morning, I came to work, my pot was kicked in, and my geraniums were stuck in my doorknob. So,
Find another tree.
it's not even that, I think you have to plant a larger tree
Right, yes.
and stake it. And I understand, you wanna plant the tree, I know you said you have a sapling or whatever. You wanna plant it in Kennedy Park, you're welcome to plant it, but its rate of survival, I worry about, that's all I'm gonna say. I don't think one pine sapling is going to make or break any park location.
I would agree. I would agree. But, I mean, in all fairness too, I think we have also, the Urban Tree Commission that we have. Have you reached out to anybody there? No? What I would suggest, and,
You have to, he has to reach out to them too.
yeah, I would say to reach out to the Urban Tree, and maybe they could get the neighborhood and you together to figure out, and meet Nancy to figure out where we could put this tree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Something for Earth Day, definitely.
You know? Yeah,
You
because
have
your
the
Earth, when's
contact
Earth
for-
Day?
Well,
Earth Day.
I put it on you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
April 22nd.
I should have known.
I don't have one of them.
April 22nd, so we have time, right?
Yeah, in a few months, definitely.
Mr. Pirano from the tree
I-
department's waving at you.
Yes, Mr. Pirano from the Tree
We can also,
Department.
Get a recommendation from the arborist,
Yeah.
Okay.
so I can reach out to her.
Would you
next
mind?
time she's in.
Well, we need to find out first what type of tree, right?
Right.
So,
Well, he said he already has the saplings, correct?
oh, you have them, okay.
Did it cost you money for that sapling? Did you buy it?
It was a gift.
Gift?
Okay.
But it wasn't.
I don't wanna see you put $500.
No,
She
no,
said it
no,
gets
no.
destroyed.
But also, though, it still would have to go to the Urban Tree Commission, so we could get, you know, what, the arborist, you, the neighbor, everybody on board, so that way they could figure out what to do, right?
Sure, so could we table this until,
Yeah.
next meeting?
Motion to table pending, meeting between the tree commission, Mr. Dias, the neighborhood association,
And the
and
arborist,
the recommendation from the
Second.
arborist.
okay? Motion's been made,
Second,
seconded, roll call?
Yes?
yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Who was my second call?
Yes. I know. Maybe I'll let you know, include you in, and remember, your other board makes me walk around the corner, to get to my house.
We don't,
Okay,
I don't
all
have
set?
it.
Helen,
He must have had it, because he gave it.
welcome back, Commissioner.
Sorry.
Okay. Board decision regarding removal of playground equipment at Damaris. I thought we did this already, no?
No, the board, last meeting, I asked the board to go check the 3 sites, Damaris, Etna,
Yeah,
and Columbus.
and here they are.
And be able to come back here with a recommendation or a vote of this board for me to remove them,
Right,
because I don't think they're safe.
This,
Nancy, didn't we say to remove whatever's damaged, whatever somebody
It
could get
doesn't
rid
matter,
of?
when you remove a piece,
They
you
all come-
compromise
they're all-
the next piece.
they were all a mess.
There,
If
have you
something's-
gone and look at it? You're gonna remove all of
They're
it.
mess.
If
yeah,
something,
you gotta
yeah,
take it apart.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so that's what he's saying, he's saying like they're
You're
all a
gonna remove
mess.
all of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so let's do one by one, we need a
Before somebody
motion.
gets hurt.
You can
Exactly.
do it all together, all of a sudden it's freezing.
No,
Freezing in here.
He said it was gonna be hot.
hot,
I
yeah, I
thought he
think
said
he
it was
did it
gonna
on
be hot.
purpose.
yeah, you do.
Okay, let's see, so we need a motion to remove Damaris Playground on
Make a
County
motion.
Street.
I'll make a
Second.
motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Roll call.
Wait, I can only do one thing.
I'd like a roll call. Excuse me,
I'm asking a question about park, Damaris.
well, tell us.
Do the votes and then I'll explain what she's asking
Okay.
about.
Roll call.
Just vote
Removal, for the
map.
removal.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
Commissioner Sylvia,
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Farias, Schuenberg,
yes.
Rigo.
Yes.
That a girl. Okay, now what was that, Nancy?
No, keep on going.
Okay.
because it has to do
For
with-
Etna Playground, King Philip Street,
no, that's,
roll call. It's all for removal. These are
Yes.
the ones that Nancy wanted us to go by because they were very bad and
If I can save anything, I can, but the entire
They're-
structure would
I
have
went
to be removed.
and they're absolutely terrible. I'm afraid
Yes.
of injury.
Yes.
Commissioner Sylvia?
Said it.
yes.
So, Farias, Schuenberg?
Yes.
Rigo?
Yes.
Okay. And then for Columbus Playground, BB Street, Commissioner Sylvia?
Yes.
Yes,
So, Farias, Schuenberg?
Yes.
Rigo?
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries for all. Please take them down.
Okay, to answer the question that goes with the, I've included in the board's package, a CDBG eligible parks. And this is what Helen was asking me. The next page says that Davis Playground, Damaris Playground, and Dumont Park are not eligible for CDA funding. So, just so the board knows, this is the time for the CDA funding again. And I am making the suggestion that, and I've included Britland on this, because Britland is fairly old but not damaged, but it's from the 90s. I'm proposing in my CDA budget, if I have any say, to replace the playground at Columbus, requesting funding for that, requesting funding to replace the playground at Etna,
Damaris.
Aetna, you cannot request Damaris through
Because
CDA funds.
they're not eligible, right?
They're not eligible. What I would ask this board to do is to make a motion and a second, or to at least have the discussion for me to put this in our city budget for city funding to replace the Damaris playground.
And Davis and Dumont, or no?
No, that's just telling you they're not eligible.
Oh, okay.
The only three playgrounds we've discussed are Damaris, Etna, and
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Columbus. Etna and Columbus are CDBG eligible, Damaris is not.
Is not, okay.
So I would ask that when the budget is prepared, we put Damaris in our regular
Yeah.
city request, and we put the other two in our CDBG request.
And we already discussed this more or less last time too, so I would suggest
Well,
that
we
too.
didn't discuss it, the
We-
young lady
Yeah, well,
came-
she's right there, yep,
came
she's right
here
over
and
there.
requested it.
I'll
And
make a motion
Make-
that we, put it in the city budget for
Okay.
the Damaris playground.
Okay, so
And I'll
there's a
second it.
motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The next one is
and
to.
the other, through CDA.
Through CDA, yes.
Through CDA, okay. The next one is to approve the park rules for posting. This is to our website. We've been going through and trying to update the park side of it, and I'll be, Chris is also working on his too, to update it. So that way there, we're up to speed with everybody else. So we came up with some of them, and it's in your packet. Some of the, or maybe not, I don't know. Let me see, wait a minute.
Yeah, is this gonna be on the city website?
It's gonna be on the city website, we can change it anytime when we come back to a meeting, of course, but at least it's a start, and, it'd be nice, we have big dreams, but this is the start. So. And where are they? Okay, so, do you have them in your packet?
Yes.
We have city ordinance 5453, and then we have 5455, what we're in control of, and then, just rules that we've had,
Yeah.
basically. No dogs, no, you can't cut trees or damage, like we were just saying, unfortunately.
No alcohol.
No alcohol, yep.
Can't climb on trees, huh?
Nope. Should have read this before.
Parking on grass at any time.
No
That's
parking
a
on
lie.
grass anytime,
That's a
yeah.
lie.
Well,
How come I can't
Read number 27?
climb? 27?
Carnival is not allowed. see?
Nope.
carnivals are not allowed.
Why'd you have to bring that up?
Oh,
It's next.
that's the next thing on the agenda.
No political activities of any kind. Okay, is there a motion to accept?
Motion.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Sylvia and seconded by Commissioner Farias. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
I'm gonna go tomorrow to the ducks.
Update on the Forever Recreation revenue from Lafayette Park. So as you know, for many months now, we've been waiting for an update to see how much CD Rec had made. And we recently, well, December, we got an email, it seems, that the committee made, is that us? Oh, out there, oh, I was like, ooh. The committee made $7,260 from the proceeds of the carnival. The agreement was 25% of the amusement ride gross. The Porta Johns, it was broken down $743, the dumpster $623.20, state permit $200, and police $1996.50. So, that's what they made. Here's the letter. I would suggest that, we also have in the packet that was sent from, given to me from Carlos Caesar, how much he made. And Carlos made, paid out $31.68 for police, overtime for 3 inspectors, $570. Well, I don't- Wait a minute, wait a minute.
The overtime for the 3 inspectors was because he had wanted
Right.
to open on a holiday, so
Right,
that
but
is above and beyond.
Right, but you'd still have to pay for the inspectors.
But that was the choice he made for that particular.
I understand that,
Just so
but-
that they know when
right,
they're
but
comparing
that's-
apples to apples.
Because I don't see on hers,
The inspectors may have gone out during the day, so if it's on regular time, they don't pay for inspectors.
where's the list?
What list?
Oh, we didn't get the list. Don't we have a list that they have to check off?
No, we didn't give a list because we didn't give permission.
Well, that's the other thing, you can't veto a park board. Well, then there's no sense going through this, but anyway,
Well, but the board can just accept it, place it on file,
Yep.
and if Mr. Caesar wants a copy of what it becomes public information,
that's right.
and he can
So,
have it.
motion to accept and place on
Make a
file.
motion, place on
That
file.
$1,000 to the park, and she didn't.
Motion, place on file.
Motion's
Because he
been
paid
made,
park fee, you-
excuse me, motion's been made.
Second.
All in favor?
Question, go ahead.
Place on file.
Placed on file.
Joe, in favor?
I'm asking a question.
I know, but he already had a motion on the floor. Do you want to withdraw the motion?
Okay,
She can
I'll-
ask the question after the fact, I think, no? I think she can.
Yeah?
Before you
It
Okay.
vote,
doesn't change the outcome, but she can ask the
before you
question.
vote, you
Okay.
can ask questions.
Yeah, we already voted, but go ahead, Helen.
I didn't-
She paid, Carlos paid $1,000 to the use of the park.
Yeah.
How come she don't pay $1,000 to the use of the park?
How come it still went
Regardless,
on?
regardless of who said okay, we vetoed it, but she still used a city park.
Were you
Wait a
gonna
minute.
charge the mayor $125 for the use of the park? That's what
You
it.
charge her from her proceeds.
We
Wow.
can't.
You didn't give, but that's up to the board.
The problem is this, you can't vote, we went to city, I've been doing some research, so we went to New Bedford, and I've been going to, speaking to different areas and communities about their park board. And it's very interesting to hear how other municipalities run and ours run. It's amazing. It's totally different. Totally different. There would never be a veto from the mayor in New Bedford from a park board. Never. Not never, let me just say now, because I don't know never. Never's a long term. It doesn't work that way. I don't understand how come it's so different from Fall River to New Bedford, from Fall River to Taunton, from Fall River to Somerset, Swansea. We should all be on the same page. We have the same rules. I mean, I could be wrong, but, so we can't veto the park board. We found that out. So at least we got that much. But we didn't know at the time, so shame on us. Well, shame on me.
I think, Helen, to answer your question, toilets, that no one's gonna deliver toilets without you paying for them. A dumpster, no one's gonna deliver a dumpster without you
I
paying for
That's
it.
right.
My point is this, it was, the only thing that could not come out of here would be any type of city fee, because the police are not gonna work for free, and the state is gonna require their permits. So, the only thing that could have been bypassed would have been within. I don't know how else to say it, but all
And the
these are
damage.
outside.
And the damage, but we won't go there either.
So,
I got upset when I
don't
put
know
everything
how to
away.
answer your question, but that's the best that I could do.
Oh, dear God. Okay.
It's on file.
It's on
for
file.
everyone else to-
Department updates. You're gonna go? Okay. Commissioner Schulenberg has to go,
Okay.
so,
So can I give one quick
so
update
he's,
before you leave?
yeah, he
Doc?
wants to talk to you about the net.
Yes, that
Okay.
was, well, yeah. So, the leave ended, I believe, Nancy, in November is what?
November 1st.
November 1st. Christmas tree went up. before Thanksgiving. There was a lot going on with that, between that, the Christmas parade. Intended to get it down, ended up having a storm or two, which isn't actually normal for December like we've had. So it took a little longer, but the plan is Monday or Tuesday to have that taken down.
And it hasn't been taken down yet then?
Not yet.
So my question is, why do it now? You're gonna use resources now, it's gonna go back up in March.
Resources will be used with staff that's already on during the day. Won't be any added expense other than
No,
payroll.
I'm just saying in general, Joe.
I gave my word to this board that that net would come down. I don't wanna leave it up. We could have a blizzard tomorrow, and I don't wanna see it
It's
getting.
supposed to be 60 Saturday.
No, I understand that, I understand
Yeah.
that, but after that, after this nice stretch of weather that we're supposed to have, there could be some other sort of situation. Last thing I wanna see is something happen to that net, be here having the discussion that nobody wants to have of, we said it was gonna come down, it didn't come down,
So-
and now we're looking at this situation.
So you were like, it just was very busy.
We were
Yeah.
just very busy, inundated with other work, and it's going to come down. I gave you my word,
So-
and I followed through with those
Are
steps.
we better off putting something in the budget so to make sure that we have this taken down at the time that we need it to take down, so that that can relinquish,
The only thing that you can do is if John
Because-
runs into this problem again, then you can say, if John's too busy, then we're gonna go out and do it, then, and pay it at that point.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know that I would,
this way here,
Put
we're
it
not
into the
inundated with
budget?
10 million calls,
This was
so.
because we're gonna have a lot
But
of
it
things that we
happens.
wanna put into
Yeah.
this budget.
Well, I mean, you know,
But I'm saying, if it's something where it's getting pushed back.
If you don't mind if I interject, I understand where you're coming from, Commissioner, Chair. It's worth giving it a shot, you wanna put it in the budget. In
We have
my
nothing to-
experience, what happens is, you know, you, as you said, we have big dreams, you aim for the stars, and you get what you can. So as you go through the budget process, certain things are approved, certain things say,
That's right.
okay, you know what, we can't do that this year, maybe next year, take that out of that line item. So you can shoot for it, but at the end of the day, this was an oddball situation, we just inundated with work, couldn't do it. It
Doesn't
will be
hurt.
done, and then each year after that, we will shoot to do it ourselves and save those funds. If there's anything left over and we get it down and it doesn't cost us anything, and Nancy has a few extra bucks in her budget that she can spend elsewhere, then so be it. So I think shooting for it and trying to get it put in the budget where we're covered in case is a good thing. But as I said, I am going to take that net down. We're
Okay.
gonna take it down, and Nancy and I had actually spoke about this the other day. As far as the work, that's not my concern, that's what we're here for. We have the men on staff and ladies on staff already. So we'll put it back up when the time comes, and we'll do it the way we discussed it. As you said, Commissioner, you know, we say things here, they don't get done, and then we're back saying, well, this is what we said we were gonna do, it didn't get done. I'm going to follow through what we discussed and make sure that happens the way we planned it out,
okay.
okay?
Can you explain to them too about the light, because
Oh,
the hanging light?
Oh,
because I've
yeah.
got
Yep.
questions about that as well.
Yeah, so I mean, there would be a significant cost to have Bishop go over there, or any company with a bucket truck. The area of how to get into that area at the light is a little difficult, so you got a slope there by that roadway, or come in from the sidewalk. So he was a little concerned, the contractor we spoke to, about the ability of his truck to make it over that hump. Chris and I had discussed having the tree truck go over there to take a look to see if we could get in there, because it's a little bit higher than his truck. Same thing happened with that happened with the net. So we were all inundated. We had a couple of good storms where some trees came down, and Chris was buried down under those, trying to get that stuff done. So Monday or Tuesday, we want to do the net. When we're done with that, we're going to take a ride by there to see if the tree truck's able to get in there. If it's not, then we'll do what we have to do to make sure that we get some piece of equipment in there and get up there and pull that down.
yeah, because when I had gone by,
Mhm.
when someone had called me, I went by, and there was at the time, there was a little girl playing with a dog, and the dog went underneath. Now,
Yeah, no, right.
nothing can happen, but, you know, you got the tape, but when you got
Yeah.
kids in the park,
Yeah.
they don't understand the tape.
When I
you
did
know?
call the contractor to have him come and look at that
So
light,
good, okay.
he looked at it, and his statement to me was, it doesn't appear as though it's in danger of falling, although it is hanging, it
Yeah.
seems to be wedged in there pretty good, so.
Okay.
And just for your own information, through my experience, I've learned, our liability lies with being able to make sure that we make it apparent that there is a safety hazard. So taping it off, making sure it's gone. shouldn't stay this long, we don't like it to stay this long. But as long as we as a city, or the park board as a board, take steps to ensure that the public, the general public knows that there is a hazard there, and to avoid it, we have covered our liability in that.
I
So-
understand, but I couldn't live with myself if a kid got
Understood.
hit with a light.
Understood, I just wanna let you know that,
Yeah.
everything we're supposed to do as far as protecting ourselves from that, but you're right, it's more importantly, I mean, liability is one thing,
But-
living with the fact that something
Right.
like that happens is a whole nother, so.
Okay.
Understood. By the
So-
end of the week, both will be addressed,
Okay, so.
not this week, next.
Joe?
You only got one more day left in this week, so
Joe's
at the end of
gonna leave.
next week.
Okay, bye, Commissioner.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
See you, bud.
Okay, so Chris, you have some updates?
Yes. So, as we discussed in a previous meeting, we need to look earnestly at expansion, especially in that area that they just finished the Crestbrook Drainage Project. So the first sheet that I gave you in the packet is a breakdown of an approximate land area. These are conservative estimates that I came up with as far as the efficiency of use for that space, and then what that breaks down to as potential yield for graves and a mix of those types of graves.
I saw it.
So, one of the areas of feedback that I'd like from the board is whether to move forward with single depth graves or double depth graves. Presently, we only offer single depth, but a lot of cemeteries offer the double depth if you're buying a 2-grave family lot. So you'll see in the lower 2 boxes there, if we went single grave, you could probably get 565 single graves and a mix of 283 double graves. And based off of the average of yearly sales, that would yield about 31 years of sales on singles and 27 years on doubles.
Could I interrupt you for 1 minute?
Yeah.
If you're looking, I really would feel more comfortable if this was put on the agenda to discuss it.
Right.
That way there, we could vote and go forward.
Yep.
That's what I would
Okay.
like to
Right,
do.
I'd like to just give you the information so you
There's
can
nothing wrong
consider
with
it.
giving it, but,
And then.
but to have a
Right.
dialogue, it's not on the agenda, I don't wanna be hit with an open meeting law
Okay.
violation.
Right.
So I think it'd be best for all of us to take what you wanna discuss today.
Right.
And we can put it on the agenda for next month.
Yes.
And include what you gave us in a packet so that we can discuss it. And then, because we have a little time, we could discuss it and then vote on it, and then you'll be able to roll
Right,
in February, because we wouldn't be able to do anything tonight.
right.
And I wouldn't suggest the board even discuss it.
Sure. I just think this is information you should get as soon as
Right.
possible, so that way you can consider it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Formulate questions,
to-
reach
right,
out to me in the
so,
interim
but-
before the next
right.
meeting, and then from there we
Right.
can move forward
But
on some
remember-
decisions.
Any
Open,
information, Chris, that you wanna send to
So-
the board,
Yeah.
prior to whatever, you can
Send
send
it to
me. I can
Nancy,
forward
and
it
then
to
she
them
forwards it to
without
us.
a meeting, and they can put it
That
in
would-
their
So
agenda.
Right.
in that vein, you have this information, you can look at it, and then we'll put it on the board as another agenda.
I'll put it on the agenda.
In regards to the department update then, we'll wrap this up in the sense that Chris has been
Yes.
doing great work with
Awesome.
the expansion project. We're still waiting to obtain the last quote from the architectural firms on how we can go about that. Once we receive that last quote from that company, Chris and I will discuss it. We'll request that we put on the agenda, just so you know that will be coming, so it's something we're
I
looking
have to
forward to.
say, you know, John, we're very blessed because we have Nancy, who does a terrific job. I mean, I drive her crazy to find out information. And she does everything else.
Mhm.
I mean, and Chris working with Chris with the cemetery and everything. I've learned a
Absolutely.
lot from both of them.
Absolutely.
You know,
I'm
and-
blessed as well to have them both
Yeah,
in
you should be.
DCM.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I go out there in the public, as everybody does, and they talk,
Yeah.
very highly of, especially Nancy, they know Nancy.
Certainly do.
They know Nancy.
They certainly
Look
do.
at each-
One way or another.
One way or another, right, that's right,
That's
one way or
right.
another.
No,
But
I agree
Chris has done a
wholeheartedly,
good job. Yeah.
Commissioner.
So I want to give kudos to everybody, and the workers too, we can't forget our workers, because
right.
they always go overlooked.
Do you want this?
Okay, so,
Okay.
that's what I would suggest, so that way there we can get rolling, because I know space is limited, and how many graves do we have? I can ask that, I'm the chair.
11.
We have, at least 115 single graves, ready and available. We have 6 doubles ready and available, and we're probably a couple weeks from having another 30 available from that initial approval the board gave
For that small expansion
a few
area.
months ago,
So-
months ago.
Right, so send the email so we can get this on the agenda and
Mhm.
take care of this so that we're all covered.
Yep, and in that research for the expansion, speaking with the companies that came in, the architectural firms, they actually talked to us about areas that are maybe undeveloped in the cemetery where we could have pockets where we could increase some burial spaces. So we've asked them to look into that as well.
Is that the staging from the CSO? Remember, we had.
No, that's the main expansion area.
Right.
But there are other pockets in the cemetery that they noticed, and they said they felt we could identify as areas where if we did minimal work, we could acquire
That's nice.
10 graves here, 20 graves there, and help us along. So if it took us longer to realize the overall big expansion,
Yeah.
there are ways that we could protect ourselves from running out of room at a minimal cost.
Nice. So when you get that, can you let us know so we
We
can
will.
come, the commissioners can go out
Absolutely.
and view the area and see what exactly, is going on? Because I think it's nice that they go out, and if they haven't gone out to see the columbariums, they should, because
Yeah,
it's
let's
nice.
see what it
Nice.
is, isn't
Feels
it?
Very nice,
I seen it.
you
Those
know?
are, those are done and available to the public for
They-
purchase.
Yep, they're done.
We've sold 2 already, which is great, so.
So as we've said in the past, we're trying to correct the errors of the past. I think the columbarium is a perfect example of how, the communication
It was-
back and forth
yes.
worked out perfectly, and we look to continue that going forward.
Okay, great. Okay, so then that's what we'll expect, I guess, for the next agenda. Just send it so I can put it on. Yes, Commissioner Rego.
On the subject of the cemetery, that street, that opening that comes from New Boston Road
Garden
into the
Street.
cemetery,
Mhm.
why can't you do something? That looks terrible. When you look up, going up New Boston Road and you look down there, you see the gate flattened in. Because you can't get in through the cemetery to that street, am I right?
Right, that gate is always closed. We can look
For
into
what
that.
reason? For what reason is that gate always closed?
As far as I
It's
know,
always
it's a
been.
board decision not to have that gate or the one on.
Oh, I don't know, I wasn't on the
So why
board
don't they
then.
just block that hole up, but make a fence? Because it looks terrible. You see the gate bent in one way, bent in the other way.
Right, that gate
So-
has gotten a lot worse since the
So,
construction. believe it
again,
or
I
not.
mean, I can understand your question. We don't want to give really any misinformation, so as
Yeah.
Commissioner Deacon mentioned, maybe that's something that we should put on an agenda. Chris and I can come back at the next meeting with some factual information as to why it's closed,
Yeah.
and what we could possibly do to
Because it looks
open it,
terrible when
or
you come
at
up
least,
Boston Road.
at least
You come
open that
Boston Road, you
discussion.
look down there, you see?
Right, but as you said, so, I mean, it's not on the agenda, right? So
Right.
maybe now that you've brought it up, Commissioner Rego, we can start to do some legwork, come back with some answers in February and give you an update
And I
as to
would-
what we think we could do.
Right.
Fair enough?
Yeah, and I would suggest that the commissioners go to the cemetery, Oak Grove and,
Yeah, by all
wherever, and
means,
go
yeah.
look at it and see if there's anything that you'll have questions on for,
Or ideas.
or ideas
Right,
about, for you guys next month. Okay.
Sure.
Beautiful,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay? All right. Happy
Have
New
a
Year.
good night.
Happy New Year.
All right.
Okay. Nancy, you have any updates?
We've discussed a
All of
lot of
them.
the updates with the CPC.
Right.
The update from the Vietnam War was, they're very happy with what we have going on.
Oh, wait a
The
minute.
Veterans Organization.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. John, I have one question.
Oh, I'm not leaving.
Okay. So I had a phone call about the signs in the parks.
Yes.
About the mayor's name and
Correct.
everything else and,
Nancy brought that up.
I have that information for you.
oh, you have it? Oh, I'm sorry.
I actually called Baker Sign,
Yeah.
and, because I actually asked John, because I had been on vacation, John
Okay.
had no idea,
Yeah, neither
blocked
one of us
over the names.
had any idea why it was done. Yeah.
But I called Baker Sign, and I don't even know if I got to
No, I
tell
spoke, I think I know where you're going.
tell you about this,
Mhm.
but my understanding is she told me Chris Gallagher had
Correct.
contacted her in December.
I spoke to Chris about it after the fact, and he, it's something that normally is done standard after we change mayors. He felt buildings and grounds, the grounds piece of it, that it was his responsibility.
Yeah.
I explained to him that would be something that we would do as a park department, going forward. He completely understood
Okay,
that.
thank you.
And it's been taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
It was a misunderstanding on his part, whether it was his responsibility or somebody else's.
Well, I
No.
told Baker to send him the bill. He
Yeah,
pressed the
no,
order,
hey,
send him the bill.
That's right.
Can we do
absolutely.
that, can you do that?
What's that?
Send him the bill?
Absolutely, I didn't know whatever he did.
Okay,
Listen,
Yeah.
and to clarify, and the reason I had no idea that it was Chris was because in all of these meetings, in any other meeting I've attended, I was told if it doesn't have doors or windows,
that's what they
plumbing
told
or
us.
electrical, it wasn't Chris's.
That's what they told us, so that's why I was like,
So,
what's going on
He wasn't
here?
even a suspect.
And Chris and I had just had another conversation. I think I have a plan to try to get this communication issue straightened out between everybody. So that, as I said, look, the Columbarium was a perfect example of a situation where the communication worked the way it's supposed to. And I think we can follow that same model with other departments that may work in conjunction with the board and Park Department and DCM to get projects done. And I think we'll put that in place, but again, that's a conversation that we
Yeah.
can have and it's made for
I mean,
another
and
day.
as far as communication, the Vietnam Wall has gone smoothly.
Everything.
Well,
You know, we have,
Mr.
we have a
Leon has
lot to be
gone
proud of, you
smoothly.
I'm
know?
not trying to
But the
single,
only thing we didn't like is, you know, when you get phone calls and, you know, you find out that, you know, you got other people in areas, you know, it usually doesn't work very well,
I understand.
okay?
So we got to the bottom of it, but.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, the only good thing out of it is that we don't have to pay for it.
Well, don't be
No,
surprised
no,
if
no,
you don't
no,
send
no,
me the
no.
bill, But I will send it back.
No, no,
I'll
no.
put it before the board.
There you go, as we should, as we should.
But,
And I
so
will say-
that's all going.
Let's bring it to Mr. Gallagher.
We have the soccer keys that I chased
I know you did. Good
to
job,
get back
Nancy.
from
'cause
the
we would've-
leagues.
Thank you.
So that's something that this board, don't forget, we're gonna have to deal with because the lighting has been taken out of Britland Park. It's back in the city of Fall River's name. So the use of that lighting is going to have to be addressed by this board. So with that in mind, before the next meeting, because before you know it, everyone will be applying for permits, and we're gonna have to tell them what they're up against, so.
We will be reviewing the permit process and everything else, that, you know, after, as I said earlier, after speaking to New Bedford and other surrounding towns. You know, it's done much differently, and maybe, you know, we're not gonna be exactly like all of them, obviously. We have to scale it to what Fall River needs, but we need to relook at this and vamp things up to the 21st century, so. With that said, is there a motion to adjourn or any questions?
Will that be done for the next meeting, because after February, March, that process is gonna begin, right?
Has to
They
be.
start submitting
So commit,
in February.
yes, that's what I mean, get that.
It'll be on the
update
next
going in
agenda.
February, because in March, Lee's gonna start applying for
That's
permits.
correct.
Well,
Next,
if anyone wants to send their suggestions
That's right.
to me, and I will compile them all, so that this board has the information
That's actually a good idea.
of who thinks this would be a good idea to implement this process. I don't have a problem with consolidating all your ideas, sending them out. You'll have an idea of what's going on before time, and you can vote accordingly on what you want to accept, reject, or keep the same.
okay. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Good night.